Hey everyone, and welcome back to FSi DFS. I'm McKinley412, and today we're going to be looking at this 5-game main slate. We do have a separate video out for the early slate, so please go check that one out. But for now, just this 5-game main slate happening later in the night. 5 games, no weather that we have to be paying attention to at the moment. Obviously, things can change. Summer's happening, pop-up showers are occurring, so please make sure you're checking out all of that. And we got a pretty stark contrast with the pitching. We have 10 pitchers going, and I think I could argue that 5 of them are, almost unplayable. It's ugly. But we'll go through the pitchers, then we'll go through kind of like where I'm at with kind of cash, where I am with GPP, and so on. We'll talk about that later on. But again, these are not official cores. This is just kind of like a first look at everything. I want to see lineups. I want to dive a little bit deeper into the data, but I do want to get this information out to you guys so that you can kind of start your builds and head to the right direction. So this slate is highlighted by Garrett Cole, absolutely by Garrett Cole. You're probably going to be putting him as your SP1, 100%, even at that 10.4 price tag. He's going up against Minnesota. Minnesota against right-handed pitching, they are a top 10 highest strikeout team. So I get tripped up with the words, though. They strike out a lot against right-handed pitching. So Garrett Cole is going to be in line for another fantastic game. It would not shock me if he gets over 30 DK points here. He's the safest pitcher on the slate. He's got a nice matchup. 31% K rate on the season. So Garrett Cole, SP1 cash. I'm not thinking twice about it. Then you get 3 pitchers who you could argue they can go in any order. This is the order that I kind of landed on, and here's why. So Pivetta I have going second. I like his price tag. Fried is a little bit more expensive at 9.5K. Pivetta is at 8.4, so you're getting over $1,000 discount on Pivetta, and really him and all of these Boston pitchers have been studs lately. He has been fantastic. That K rate is a little bit lower just because he started off the season with some struggles. So his K rate is higher right now than what the season-long averages say, and he's going up against the Angels, an Angels team that is just in complete free fall mode. They did fire their manager. They're going to have a new manager here. Which does play to the Ohtani factor possibly for me. So I do like Pivetta at this nice 8.4 price tag. Below him, I'm going with Max Fried, 22% K rate, which is lower than I was expecting when I was looking everything up. But he's got a great matchup going up against Pittsburgh. 9.5K is a little bit high. Well, I guess it's not too high, but it's pretty high compared to a guy like Pivetta or a guy like Ohtani, who's at 8K and has a 33% strikeout rate. But still, regardless, he's got a nice matchup going up against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, we all know what the struggles they can face. So yeah, Fried, I think he's a fine play. You could argue that he's the second best pitcher on this slate. But I still think Pivetta is over Max Fried on this slate. And then we're rounding out with Ohtani. After these 4, I feel like it's just like a big gap between everybody else. I do not want to touch Dylan Bundy at all. Extreme fly ball pitcher, now facing guys like Judge and Stanton and just everybody else on that Yankees lineup. So no thank you to Bundy. I'm going to be feeding him. But Ohtani, 33% strikeout rate, but he is going up against Boston, who is in the going in the opposite direction as the Angels. The Angels are absolutely in free fall mode. Boston, they're finally getting it together. Their offense is cooking. So he's got a tough matchup here going up against them. It's habit. I always click on the player I'm talking about and go to the game logs. Doesn't matter with Ohtani. But yeah, Ohtani's facing Boston. Boston's offense is doing much better. And like we said, new manager in LA. So I don't know, maybe they change something up with Ohtani. Maybe they pull him a little bit sooner. Maybe they have a shorter leash. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know. So there is a little bit of uncertainty with Ohtani heading into this matchup, a tougher matchup, and that's kind of why I have him rated below Pivetta here. And then, yeah, there really isn't a mid-range. So then we'll go over to the cheap range here. Pilkington for Cleveland. He's got a great matchup going up against Oakland. It's 29% strikeout rate. I mean, we don't have too much of a sample size on this guy. But one thing I do like is that he's increasing his workload. You can see he started off the season pretty low, and then he's worked his way up. Now he's gone 5 innings. He's up to 91 pitches. So he's definitely going to be capable to get in line for a win. He looked fantastic against Kansas City last time out. I think he struck out the side in the first. I watched a little bit of that game, but he was looking great. He had nice command and everything. Only 2 walks in that time. Now he's got Oakland, a struggling offense. He's cheap at 7.1K. With that strikeout percentage, I think that he can easily pay off your salary and is, arguably a great spot for an SP2, even in cash. But I do think he's probably my favorite GPP option. Then you get a massive gap, and then you get Bubic, who I think we're still all angry about. Everybody was on Houston. I guess if you're a main GPP player, you were fine with it. But everybody was on Houston going up against this guy, a pitcher who we're not sure how he even is in the majors anymore. And then he pitches 5 innings and shuts them out. So it's not going to happen again. I think that was a complete anomaly. It is baseball. I'm expecting a much worse outing going up against Baltimore. But still, he showed maybe he can do it, but highly not. It's a massive gap here. And then I don't really want to touch anybody else. I got Zimmerman here. As you can see on DK right now, it says Lyles for Baltimore, but everywhere I'm looking at MLB.com, I'm looking on the app and everything, and it's saying Zimmerman's going to be the starter. So I don't think it's going to be Lyles here. So I don't really want to touch any of these guys. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. The bats, New York Yankees going up against Bundy for sure. Extreme 5-ball pitcher. He lights up a lot of home runs. Aaron Judge, you probably see it over here. Aaron Judge is going to be my lock, especially on this slate here at 6K. Atlanta going up against Brubaker. Brubaker's not a terrible pitcher by any means, but Atlanta, they're heating up. They keep on winning. So I think that they're going to be another top stack for a lot of people tomorrow. And then Cleveland going up against Caprillion. Caprilion's got a strikeout rate around like 14%. He can't strike out anybody. He's really relying on some decent-ish BABIP right now. But Cleveland, they can certainly get to them. One thing I like about Cleveland is they got some cheap guys in their lineup. Oscar Gonzalez, if he goes tomorrow at just 2.2K, I think he's definitely a guy that you can look at right now. 375 on a season. It's inflated with some limited data numbers. But overall, I think he's a fine play at just 2.2. Jimenez might be the hottest hitter in baseball right now. Just look at what he's been able to do in the past week or so. So he has been phenomenal. But yeah, the big question, I think, okay, let me go over to where I'm kind of at with cash here. So Cole is the SP1. Pavetta, I have at the SP2. You could go up to Fried. So let's throw in Pavetta here and see what we got 3.4 remaining on our average salary. We take Pavetta out, say you want to go up to Fried. Now you're down to 3K remaining. It gets real tight real quick. And that's kind of why I'm leaning towards Pavetta as my second option rather than Fried, because I think that 1,000 salary really does go a long way on this slate. So we throw in Pavetta, and then obviously we got Rizzo. I think he's going to be fantastic against Bundy, Judge against Bundy, and then these nice Cleveland guys. Third base, I think we just kind of like hope and pray that Carpenter is going to be in. He hasn't played. Now that Stanton's back, he doesn't really have like a spot in the lineup. So maybe here and there he gets a spot start or something. So I'm not really confident that he's even going to start. So I'm putting Urias for Baltimore there. But you're kind of just hoping for like a cheaper guy here. Because if you do want to stick with the Cleveland, New York, or Atlanta guys at third base, you're going to be paying a pretty penny. You got Ramirez at 6'3", Riley at 5'7", and even Donaldson and LeMahieu are really expensive. LeMahieu, not as much, but then you got to look at a guy at second base. And second base, you're looking kind of at like a guy like Owen Miller, LeMahieu again. It gets pricey. So you're going to have to find some cheap bats somewhere, and I think you can find them in, places like Baltimore, places like Kansas City. Even Oakland going up against Pilkington, they have some really cheap guys in their lineup. So this is kind of where the cash thoughts are leaning. Again, this is not an official core. This is just kind of like the first look at everything. GPP side, I got Pilkington as my favorite pitcher. And then it's pretty much going to be fade Garrett Cole. It's a short, it's a small 5-game slate. There's not many pitchers. The ownership on Cole is going to be through the roof. So if you want to take down a GPP, you're probably going to be wanting to fade him. It's going to be so tough, though. He has been so consistent. I don't even know what his game logs look like. Oh my gosh, yeah. He has been so consistent ever since the middle of April here. But, maybe he has something go wrong and you want to take that risk. So go Pilkington. And then maybe go with like a Max Fried or something, or even just like a Pavetta or an Ohtani, wherever you want to go. But I got Pilkington. We'll throw in Max Fried here, just kind of for giggles. I guess he could go Cole, but I got Boston going up against Ohtani. And I got Baltimore as kind of like my GPP plays. I do like the Angels. Let me scroll back over here. I do like the Angels as a possible GPP option. It's really like, where do you think that game's going to go? Do you like Boston more? Do you like LA more? Do you like Pavetta more? Do you like Ohtani more? So that's kind of where we're going there. And then I think Baltimore is the fine play going up against Bubic. This is not a good pitcher at all. Last start against Houston's an anomaly. So I think that they're going to be fine. And they got a lot of nice, solid, cheap pieces. Leverage is just guys going up against Cole and guys going up against Fried. Then Oakland, Kansas City, they're cheap. So GPP, Pilkington, Fried, Mountcastle at first base. If you don't want Mountcastle, you could pay up to Mancini. Mancini's 4.7, but Mountcastle is only 3.1, and those savings do go a long way. But you're going to kind of decide between those guys. Then I got Story, Devers. Devers has fantastic numbers against right-handed pitching. Obviously, as a left-handed batter, going up against the righty Ohtani. And then in the outfield, Austin Hayes would be my guy from Baltimore. And then you're going to decide between Verdugo and Cordero for Boston. You could go both of those guys if you want, but pick one or the other. I want to see kind of where the batting order is going to be. Is Cordero going to be higher up in the lineup? Is it going to be more down in the lineup? And that really will kind of determine, where I'm going to be kind of heading, how I'm going to be building my line. So Pilkington would be my main GPP guy, and then Baltimore and Boston would be the two stacks for me there. Cash, throwing Garrett Cole. I think I'm going to be going Nick Pavetta as SP2, not finalized yet, obviously, but I do think that 1,000 discount from Max Fried does make a pretty big difference. So overall cut and dry kind of slate. The early slate is also very cut and dry. So thanks for watching. Please go check out that other early video if you haven't already. Good luck in your contests as always, and we will see you in the next video.